Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to So I Was in This House. And today I am in this house with an extremely incredible individual who I am very fortunate to be spending the next hour or so with. His name is Howard Partridge. He is a world renowned author, he is a world renowned business coach. He's done TEDx talks. Actually, you know what? Go ahead, Howard. Tell people who you are.
I'm Howard. Nice to meet y'all. Those of y'all that are on video, I had like a mole removed right there. So sorry about the little bandage. But anyway, like I couldn't, with my schedule, I travel all the time and find a day where, okay, I'm not going to be in front of people. Impossible. So, so three podcast audience or three webinar audiences got the patch today.
You got 3 interviews and 3 podcasts today. Today's the podcast day.
Well, so I do a webcast every week on Tuesday mornings for my coaching audience. I have coaching members in 100 different industries and 20 different countries. So we get together every week, and every week I just teach them the systems that I've developed over the years, and it's great community. And then I was on a webinar, and now I'm here. That's in addition to writing a chapter in current book that I'm working on and delegating and all the other normal stuff that I do.
Yeah, build and continuing your business. And by the way, I tried to schedule this with Howard. Like we've been going back and forth for a couple months, and I tried to schedule this, and I told him typically what I do is I live stream, at night because I don't know, we get good engagement, people like it, they're sitting there mind-numbingly flipping through social media, and they come on. Well, Howard goes, "Hey, brother, man, I'm asleep by like 9:30. There is no way that I'm doing." So we compromised on this, and he has such a busy schedule that so we're recording this actually during the day. But it's funny actually how Howard and I met, and
Yeah,
ironically, you just never know.
you never know.
This is the funny part about business, sales, networking, being in the right place, talking to the right
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
Howard and I met in an elevator.
Yes.
In an elevator.
Yes. You were with Ken Goodrich.
I was with Ken Goodrich. We were going to record an episode, and we just got into talking. And he was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to come on and we'll just do a podcast. It'll be fun." And so
I had met Ken Goodrich backstage at Tommy Mello's event. I spoke at Tommy's event. So I'm backstage meeting all these people. Ellen Rohr's introducing me to all these people. And so I'm about to get on the elevator that morning, and you and your crew come walking off the elevator with Ken, and Ken and I go, "Hey, man." And then Ken looks at you and says, "You ought to interview this guy."
yeah.
So I was introduced to you by Ken Goodrich. How you like that?
Yeah, it was it was neat. So talk to me, like, how did you even end up being who you are? Like when I follow it, I'm like, how does a kid from on welfare, not a pot
Yeah.
to piss in, like, how does this happen?
Yeah. Well, so you can read my story almost anywhere. So instead of giving you the normal, I'm originally from LA, Lower Alabama. My wife
Yeah.
doesn't love my jokes either. So I'll just tell it straight, which is that I grew up on welfare. There were 7 kids, crammed in a little 600 square foot shack, and the roof on that house was so bad that we had to get out all the pots and pans to catch the leaks when it rained. And I was just a wild kid. I was a wild teenager and kind of lost in the shuffle, and just I was just wild kid. I wrecked a couple cars and got in a fight with my stepdad. My real dad left when I was a year old, and I only met him twice in my whole life. He lived here in Houston, so when I got in a fight with my stepdad, uh, he ran me out of the house and said, "Don't ever come back." So the next, I had no money, and my friend and I scraped up enough for a Greyhound bus ticket to Houston, and I literally had 25 cents in my pocket when I got here, and so I became over time. I became a waiter, and I worked in these high end restaurants, and but I always wanted to have my own business, and I just still didn't have any money to speak of. But then I met my future wife, Denise Cadette Antoinette Pinella from New Jersey. And so I go to New Jersey, get married to my wife, Denise. And as you well know, because you're from Jersey, uh, you don't get wedding presents, you get cash, right? So the relatives come. And I'd love to hear your perspective on this, but they come, they've got an envelope and it has cash in it, right?
Yeah, that's it, brother. Just
That's
cash.
yeah. And
Straight
so
cash, homie.
and so after the wedding, we spread all the money out. We had $3,000, most money that it's all the money we
You've
had.
ever seen in your life, right? Yeah.
Never seen it,
Yeah.
and if I did see it, it wasn't mine.
Where in Jersey were you guys?
Dover,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I
Dover,
got
New
a friend who
Jersey,
lives in Dover. Yeah, down Route 10.
yeah. And so there was a friend of the family. I was only 23. Friend of the family, same age as me at the time, and he's towing around a little red Mercedes convertible. I'm working as a waiter, just paying the rent, basically. And I said, I want to know what that guy does, and I want to know if it's legal. Well, he had a carpet cleaning business. So I get back to Houston. I got $3 grand in the bank. And my real dad, who I'd become close to by that point, and his wife, they were in the interior design business. And I said, I think I want to go clean carpet. I mean, this guy I met in Jersey, he's driving around a Mercedes and everything.
Oh,
And
your wife agreed to move back to Houston?
yeah, so she was already here in Houston.
Oh,
We went there. Yeah, she had already moved here. Yep.
gotcha.
So anyway, I found this guy who was able to fix me up, a supplier, and I bought a carpet cleaning machine and a vacuum cleaner. And I was waiting tables at night, and I would clean carpet in the daytime.
Hmm.
And I did that for about 3 years
Hmm.
until I started making more money cleaning carpet.
Right, then waiting tables.
Yeah. So for over 40 years, that was November 2nd, 1984. So that was over 40 years ago. So I've been walking, you're talking about in the house, like I've been walking in and out of people's homes
How'd you get your business?
for over 40 years. Well,
How'd you?
here's the funny part. The first job I ever did,
Mhm.
so my fellow waiter and I, the guy I'm working with, we're standing there, like waiting on our tables. And I'm telling him about this business that I'm going to start. And so I'm keeping him posted. I was like, man, my equipment's being delivered tomorrow. I'm so excited. And he goes, well, why don't you clean my carpet? I was like, okay, what do you got? He said, I got 5 rooms. And I said, okay. He said, well, how much are you going to charge me? I hadn't thought about that. I just thought, okay, I make, $100 or so waiting tables, $75 on a average night. And so I just thought about the time it might take. And I said, I'll charge you $75. Because $75, it's like I see ads in the paper all the time for $5 room. Back in 1984, they had ads for $5.95 a room. But you know what's going to happen, right? Some sleazy guy is going to show up.
Yeah, it's a loss. It's like, and by the way, we found this and we found that, and there's mold in this part of the
dirt. They found
Yeah.
dirt. They found spots.
Yeah.
So
You got to read the fine print. It's actually per square foot.
right,
$5 per square foot.
Yeah. And so I said, well, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know anything. So I was like, oh, well, I'm thinking I got to be competitive. So I charged him $25. And it took me all day and he actually did most of the work.
The customer?
Yes. I just got this stuff. I'm trying to read the directions and how do I do this? And so he's my fellow waiter. So he's cleaning, I'm cleaning, and we're trying to figure it out together. And back then I used this product that was so expensive. It cost me $130 to do that job. I was like, man, this ain't gonna work. So,
What was this was like a steam cleaner,
actually, I started out with this dry cleaning thing it looked like sawdust, and you put it on the carpet and you work it in. I mean, there's some uses for it. I mean, it's still in existence, and I mean, I don't know who uses it anymore, but for like maintenance and spills, there's some applications for it, like delicate rugs, but not to build a business for sure, right?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to finally realize that. But listen, I'm a marketer, I'm a sales guy. I made it work. This is our differentiator. Like dry cleaning, no steam cleaning. Don't overwet your carpet. And I built a business out of it. But then I realized that it was holding me back, and I had a window where they changed the formula. And so I was like, okay, that's my way out. We're no longer using this product because we're doing this now. Long story short is I built that business up to be one of the most respected high-end cleaning companies in the world, like known worldwide. Not the biggest, not maybe the most, well, by a lot of standards, it'd be the most successful in the high-end residential world. And we ended up with clients like celebrities, world lead, like George and Barbara Bush were clients of ours before they passed away. Celebrities, athletes, names you would recognize, and that's routine. So then 27 years ago, I got my business turnkey, and I got really interested in systems and all that kind of stuff. And
did you capitalize? Did you sell that business?
No, I still have it.
The cleaning business?
Yes.
What's the name of the cleaning business?
Clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle. That's
So I
have
a staff. We run about $4 million a year. I mean, they do. I own it 100%, but I don't have a job there. I don't go there ever. Ever.
Just that's the way you build a business when you don't have to actually go into work every day.
Debt free, makes money, and I got 2 directors that run it. We love our staff. My wife actually retired from radio advertising, so she works there. So I actually know more about it than I want to know about it. Like this is going on or that's going on. I'm like, honey, I don't want to know. It's turnkey for a reason. If they need to talk to me about something, they'll talk to me about it. Okay. But so anyway, 27 years ago, I started coaching other people in that industry, and I became top consultant in that industry. Zig Ziglar came and spoke at my conference, and that put us in 100 different industries. So today we coach people in home services and professional services and 100 different industries in 20 different countries.
Yeah. But you became one of, or the first like Zig Ziglar sort of authorized coach, if you will.
Yeah. So what happened was Zig came and spoke at my conference, and Tom Ziglar, his son, and his daughter Julie came, got to know them. And Tom was writing a book with his dad, the very last book that Zig was going to write, called Born to Win. And he calls me up and he said, hey, there's a quote that I heard you say a lot. I want to put it in the last chapter of Zig's book. And I said, oh, well, tell me about it. He said, well, it's called Born to Win for Business Leaders. I said, oh, got to help you with this. So the entire last chapter of Zig Ziglar's very last book was based around my quote. And I have my business model framework in the last chapter of Zig Ziglar's book. Well, between the time that he asked me that question, they wrote the book, published the book, we started talking about, well, what happened was they went to see a consultant because the corporate training stuff was drying up, the product stuff, Zig's not out speaking, and so things were happening over there. And he said, look, we went to see this consultant and they feel like we should be in small business coaching. Would you, in training, would you be willing to partner with us? And I said, absolutely. So over the last 14 years, I've been working with Ziglar as the exclusive small business coach for the Zig Ziglar Corporation. Tom Ziglar and I were traveling, and look at that. Secrets of closing the sale, baby.
For those of you listening on audio, I just pulled out my my trusty copy of Zig Ziglar Secrets of Closing the Sale.
Yeah.
Which was probably the first sales book I ever read. I don't think I ever read anything prior to that. And actually, I think it was I got the audio version because I was on the road, so I was listening to it. But it wasn't, I'm not that old, so it wasn't. Because it was actually CDs at the time. Remember the CD sets?
Oh yeah.
Now everything's, But
man,
yeah,
that
very
audio,
very impactful.
Yeah, that audio is just so strong. Anyway, so we're traveling, and Zig had fallen down the stairs and wasn't active anymore. And we met this guy. We had spoken for him in Australia, and he was doing some real estate deals in Fort Myers, Florida. We had met him at a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant. He said, so what are you going to do about your dad's legacy? Great question. And so from there, we decided to start the Zig Ziglar Legacy certification. And so I helped them sort of form it and everything. And I teach at every single one of them. We've done 28 now, I think. And so I got to be the very first one certified. Yeah.
That's I like that. It's interesting because you kind of created something that didn't exist before.
Right. Yeah. So that's
seems like you do that. Seems like you do that a lot. Seems like you've done that. Yeah, you've been just creating things. You're
100%.
You're a builder. You're a writer. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing is I'm writing a book with Brian Tracy right now, and he sent me the outline. And the first chapter is start with an entrepreneurial mindset. So an entrepreneur is someone, in my mind, this is my own definition. I don't care what the dictionary says. An entrepreneur is someone who gets paid to solve a problem. So the way you have to think as an entrepreneur is what's the problem and the opportunity here. People may not realize that they have a problem, right? We didn't know that we needed Uber. Did we?
Yeah. Solving a problem. I told the kids that. I'm like, you want to make money in your life, so go solve problems.
Yeah.
The best problem solver wins the cake.
That's it. So anyway, so I just look for opportunities to partner, opportunities to collaborate. I really, truly, honestly believe and live by Zig's most famous quote. You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what it is that they want. Yeah. So your job is to find out what do people want.
I've been living that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there was a gentleman by the name of Doug Wyatt who actually is like a seven habits coach I had on.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he used the same line. And think about that. So he subscribes to a completely different, he has a company called Synergy Learning Systems. By the way, you should connect with this guy. It's insane. Okay. He's out of Colorado. What he's created is nuts. But it's specifically for service training, like call centers and whatnot. And he quotes Zig Ziglar all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody does. And in fact, listen, anybody who is a big speaker like Zig or John Maxwell or Michael Gerber or Brian Tracy, you know, they all admit that they borrowed some things along the way. So, they'll say, listen, if you steal from me, you've stolen twice, right? So I used to tell Zig when he was with us here on the earth, is I said, you stole that from Jesus. He's like, what? So because Jesus said, give, it'll be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. He said, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. He just laughed. He said, well, I know him personally, so that'll be all right.
It would be funny because if Zig said it, it would be like, do unto others as I have done to you.
That's right.
What is your
man,
favorite? I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody that has actually had a personal relationship with Zig Ziglar. So this is exciting for me. What is your favorite Zig Ziglar story? It could be a story from like in the books of what he told, but what's your favorite Zig Ziglar? Maybe his what we call them, not parables, but they're like
yeah,
parables,
anecdotes. Yeah. Well, that's a good question. There's so many.
Mine is the redhead. Mine is the redhead story. Okay, for those that don't know this, the redhead story is he goes to look at a house with his wife, who he called the redhead.
Yeah.
And the house was way over their budget, but the real estate agent's showing them this and showing them that and showing them the driveway and showing them everything. And the redhead's like, no, Zig, don't you understand? It's just, it's X dollars more than this, which is only X dollars more than this, which is really only X dollars more than this. And what do you know? They bought that house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great story. I think, probably the one that I love the most is the story of the pump. And I was looking around to see, I never go to my office, but my Zig Ziglar pump is at my office. I need to redo my background, bring my Zig pump in here. I have my own pump, and only I think 5 of us in the world have one. But I put that story in one of my books. I got permission from the publisher, and it's in the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but
which book is it?
This book here is called FTI, and I put that story in the last chapter. But the story of the pump is probably my favorite story. I remember when Zig came to speak at our conference, we had a little private dinner the night before, and we're just kind of getting to know each other and everything. And we're all excited, man. Things are going great and all that. And he was sitting there at the table, and he was kind of listening to conversation. He said, listen, let me tell you something. I want every single one of you to remember that none of us got here by ourselves. In fact, he has this quote that says, if you see a turtle on top of a fence post, you can be assured that he didn't get there by himself. Now that's Southern. That's lower Alabama right there.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, he was so cool. And what I loved about him most is that he was the same person backstage as he was on stage. He was funny. He was goofy. He was just fun to be with. Like he would say, like, it's July, and he'd say, Merry Christmas. Zig, it's not Christmas. Yeah, I know. I just want to be the first one to wish you Merry Christmas this year. Mm-hmm. Was I the first one?
That's funny.
I know.
So I think the other sentiment I really like, which I've told in, I've trained many salespeople, and I like to tell the shoe shine story, because the shoe shine story is such a great maximizer story, and when I take those personality profile tests, I always come up as a maximizer, like making the most out of like nothing, which you have done. And I love the shoe shine stories. Anybody that doesn't know the shoe shine story should look up the shoe shine story by Zig Ziglar. Howard, let me ask you a question. So you were one of 7 kids?
Yep.
So, and where were you? Were you kind of in the middle, or you're number 5?
Number 5 of 7.
5'7", and you were podunk. I mean, you're talking welfare. You're talking like not a
Oh, dunk.
podunk, like shoes, like didn't have shoes kind of deal.
Well, I had one pair of decent shoes, and my mother made us all walk to church on Sunday. She didn't go. This was an
Mm,
opportunity to get us all out of the house for a couple hours so I could get some sanity.
mm.
And I remember one Sunday, I didn't want to go to church. So I took one of my shoes, the only decent pair that I had, and I shoved it so far under the bed behind so much crap that it would take her all day to find it. She was so mad. She had to put up with me for, yeah. So, I mean, I had holes in my shoes and that kind of stuff.
But what
Yeah.
do you think it was? Like I try to figure this out because I've talked to a lot of successful people. What is it? Because I'm guessing, I don't know what happened, how your brothers and sisters have all, ended up in life or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
what, what is it? Like you hear this story and it's not often, but there's this like guy that just, or girl that just made it out, that
Yeah.
just came from nothing literally. And it's like, oh, it's a cool sentiment 40, 50 years later, but like what really happened? Like what was it inside you that like started to tick, and what clicked and what made sense? Or was it just, did you always have a drive to be successful? Were you always competitive? Like what is it?
Yeah. So I think it was two things for me because I've thought about that a lot. One, I think that people have natural gifts, just something that got in your that's in your DNA that you've got. And I can always see a solution to a problem, right? And I also got a lot of tenacity from my mom. Okay. And I think for me, it was desire. Like I'm looking around like, this stinks. Like, I don't want this. And of course, you had television. So you're seeing how everybody else lives.
Mm,
See what I mean? And I'm like, I can do this. Oh, oh, okay. You're gonna kick me out of the house. What am I gonna do? My sister was here visiting my dad. So I called her up and I said, hey, I'm coming to Houston. She said, you're what? I said, I'm coming to Houston. She said, where are you gonna stay? I said, I don't know. So I've always been a big risk taker too, which that would have been bad had he not picked me up. I didn't know the first thing about, downtown Houston or how things really were,
the
like
wards.
oh my God, like I could have been killed, but I knew that my sister wouldn't let that happen to me. And I had a quarter. The reason I had a quarter is because at the time, payphones were 25 cents in Texas. They're 10 cents in Alabama. I don't know what they were anywhere else, but I knew I could at least make a phone call, leave a message for somebody, whatever. But my dad was there to pick me up. My sister was there. And so that was a big break for me because my dad, and by the way, the reason I wanted to go to Houston is because my sisters had visited my dad here and he was very successful, on shopping trips and all this. And I had been told by my mother that I looked just like my dad, acted just like my dad. By the way, he's not a very good guy. Okay.
Mm,
Couldn't wait to meet him. And I'm the only one, only male in my family that looks like me. Like my two older brothers got like sandy hair, green eyes. My two sisters are dark like me. So I'm like, and I saw pictures of him. I'm like, and okay, now he's successful. I just got kicked out of the house. Opportunity, I'm gone.
mm.
So I got a job. The first job I got, he got me a job as a painter's helper, and then I started working in as a cashier in a grocery store, and then I somehow became a waiter. I started working all these different restaurants, and that became like my profession.
I will tell you right now, Howard, you and I have an incredible amount in common. But being a waiter, I would tell everybody right now, and I'm sure you're going to back me up, every person alive should get a job in a restaurant. You don't necessarily have to be a waiter. You should get a job in a restaurant. And here's why. And Anthony Bourdain wrote something before he died about this. you can learn almost everything about life from working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Front of the house, back of the house, coordination, shitty customers, you name it, it's all there. It's right on the table for you to learn. A fast-paced environment, especially fast restaurants. I worked for 10 years, okay? I got into, I've been pretty successful, but before, like on the lead up, man, 10 years I worked in restaurants. I worked 2 jobs where I would work at the restaurant at night and close down the restaurant until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I remember working when there were smoking sections, and everybody'd be like, "Oh man, I don't want to work this section tonight because it's always the latest section, and all the late people come in here." And I would say, "I'll take it. I'll take it." You know why? Because all the other service people would get off of work, and then they would go to the smoking section, and they would tip better than everybody else. And I'd close the restaurant down, and I'd make the most amount of money out of everybody all the time.
That's right.
All the time. But that's hustle. But not everybody wants to hustle. Not everybody wants to work.
Yeah. So the thing is that, Mr. Ziglar teaches us that the secret ingredient of success is desire. And desire comes from a vision. But there's one more thing that you have to have. And that's one of the things I talk about in this book here is why people fail to implement. FTI stands for failure to implement. And it's because even though you have the desire, even though you have a vision, the desire isn't high enough because you don't believe the vision. You don't believe that you can. And somehow I just had that in me that I could do whatever I want to do. I could make it happen. Now I had to learn a lot of lessons over the years. I mean, I was not a good leader. I was great at customer service. You need me there at 5 a.m., midnight, 9 p.m., whatever, I'm there. And I agree with you that working in a restaurant, especially like a high-end restaurant like I was in, you learn the art of delivering an experience, right? So I took that right into my first business. And so the way that I set myself apart, regardless of the method of cleaning that I use, I set myself apart with customer service. We literally wore all white. It's a cleaning company. All white. Like it could be like dark clouds outside. Here they come, all dressed in white.
That's a good visual though.
Oh yeah,
man. A good visual. If you're gonna hire a company and you're like, hey, this company, you stand out, you're a little bit different. Yeah.
I mean, trucks just like sparkling. Now I don't want people to say, okay, like this guy is a coach in the carpet cleaning industry. I mean, I am. I got a lot of people in that industry. Nothing wrong with that, but I want the plumber, the HVAC guy, the accountant, the architect, the furniture guy, the restaurant guy. I mean, our systems work in hundreds of different industries, because the fact is that when it comes to building a business, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, there are certain principles, certain processes that are the same regardless of what
they're foundational. Hey, do you mind if I put you on the spot here? Do you mind if I share? There's a video that you put out there. It kind of went out there into the world.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I love this video. It's short, but basically, and we don't have to listen to the whole thing. But I really like this. So basically, Howard obviously had some kind of bad situation at a I think it was a CVS. I'm going to share it right here.
Oh, it was an eye doctor.
Okay. Oh, he's an eye doctor. Okay. So here he is. So he's in his car.
This is a public service announcement. Everybody likes to have good service, right? Good customer service. Would we all agree that it pretty much doesn't happen anymore? Oh my goodness. Even just this morning, I went to CVS. Guys like eating.
Oh yeah, I started at CVS. I forgot.
How you doing? Thank you very much. That's about it. Okay. Another place. Thank you very much. No problem. Okay. So let's do this instead. Welcome people to your store. Be enthusiastic over the phone. If someone says, you always say thank you because you have a job. If you're a business owner, you have a business. because people are paying you. So you always say thank you. Or take a page out of Chick-fil-A. My pleasure.
I love that.
Somebody says thank you to you. You say my pleasure. Or you say no, thank you. Okay? So let's help our customer service reps better communicate by saying hello, eye contact, say thank you, teach them how to speak. No problem. None of that. Thank you. Hello. Call people by name. What's your name? Welcome to our store. Thank you for calling. How may I assist you today? Got it? Just a note. So if you're a business owner, go through your scripts.
That's a
make sure
different
people
video
use
than
your
the one I was
script.
thinking
Make
of.
sure you
I
have
did
positive.
So yeah, and you go
similar to that. I was at the eye doctor, and so I walk in, and the lady behind the counter is a little snippy.
Oh, I hate that.
A little snippy. Like, I'm a customer. I've been a customer. I've been a patient for years. Okay. And I didn't say it in the video because the lady who owns the place, I mean, I like her, and I don't want to make her feel bad or whatever, but she wasn't there. So I go to the restroom. There's another one back there, and she's asleep on the desk. So I did a video called Snippy and Sleepy.
That's
Do
good.
you have snippy or sleepy employees? And here's the thing. Here's the thing that people need to understand. Listen, it costs nothing. And you know what you do you not only help your customers and help yourself, but you help the people that work for you. It raises their self-image. Okay. Yeah. It helps them feel better about themselves. Hey, listen, let me help you out. Now, here's how you shake hands. You know what I've also realized, that in this culture today, people don't even know how to shake hands properly. I had to look this up. Did you see this right here? That's called the perlicue. Perlicue. So when
for those listening on audio, Howard just raised his hand, and he's talking about the spot between the index finger and the thumb is called the perlicue, which I just learned something new today. Thanks, Howard.
Okay. And so you make sure that, first of all, you don't extend your hand to a woman. Let's do a little basic customer service here, unless they extend theirs first.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Secondly, so I'm talking as someone who has built a legendary business, working with some of the highest end clients in the world, some of the richest people in the world, right here in Houston, Texas. That's actually one thing that I miss, Everett. I have to, that's just one thing that I miss. It's like, dang, some of the houses that we're in, some of the people that our company works with. Now they're usually not there. There's the house managers there or whatever, but man, the pictures and everything. But anyway, so when you shake someone's hand, make sure that web part called the perlicue, that it connects, gentle squeeze, and you're out. Okay. You don't need to shake their hand off. You don't need to squeeze. I mean, sometimes, guys, contractors, I appreciate that you're strong, but I'm a guy. And if you're you're about to break my hand, I can only imagine how a woman feels with
I think sometimes people do that to make a statement. I think sometimes guys do that to say, "Oh yeah, I'm strong." I mean, I could break some hands. You don't see me doing that. But
hey, let me tell you something, guys out there, guys that want to act all big and tough. Let me tell you something. A high ego
is not your amigo.
Is a cover up for a low self-image.
Yeah.
I'm just telling
100%. Yeah.
I'm just telling you. Okay.
For sure. Low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So, I'm so passionate about this topic, especially when it comes to customer service. And I've had some experiences recently that have been just absolutely abysmal where like I won't go back again.
Yep.
Here's the thing though. I think it's important because, and I know that people don't want to be like Karens, right? I think it's really important, especially because I have a friend who owns a small business, but it's a sizable, business, right? I mean, it's going to probably do $3, $4, $5 million. But the thing is that, and it's an establishment that people frequent, like a restaurant, like a bar, right? And, people go online and they start blasting if they've had a bad experience there. Now, I know that the standards of service are higher than that. And so unfortunately, what happens is somebody had a bad day. There's a bad employee, bad egg, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Really, you have to rectify that. But if I go to some place and if I go somewhere and I can see like it's baked into the culture, like just being, impolite in general or not giving good service is in it, I don't go. I just won't go.
Right.
I just won't go. Yeah.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. Nobody's teaching people this stuff anymore.
Well, good organizations are.
Right.
Good organizations are hiring the Howard Partridges of the world.
Right.
There's for instance, Chick-fil-A has a customer service training program that they send their employees through that teaches them that. It's the same one, by the way. It's the same company, or used to be, as Panda Express. And if you go to either of those places, the place is always immaculate. The food is always ready to go. The teams are always working hard. It's clean.
Yep.
You have to bake it into the culture of your business.
Yeah.
Which you
did. I said nobody, the general public, like they don't even have a clue.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, not even a clue. It's not the employee's fault. So I used to get mad at the employee because when you get spoiled with understanding the most phenomenal service experience ever, you get spoiled. Okay. And so now you're like, well, why does everybody understand this? But then when you understand, it's like I tell a story. I do a boot camp where I teach all my systems, and it's one day. It's phenomenal. I love doing it too. It's like I could do it in my sleep. I've been doing it for 25 years or more. And so I teach through the different systems: leadership, marketing, sales, operations. When I get to operations, I tell about a trip I went on to the Great Barrier Reef. And this is a beautiful, like gorgeous island. Beautiful. I mean, it's just so fantastic, except for one thing. The employees, like, you could go by a boat or you could go by, which is 2-hour bumpy, windy, crowded boat ride, or you can take a helicopter. It wasn't that expensive. It was like $150 one way, if I remember right, $160, something like that. There's only 5 people on there. It's a beautiful view. So I took the helicopter. So you're arriving on this beautiful, it looks like fantasy island. You're expecting some dude to come, you're running out.
Yeah, they're waiting there. They've got like well, you know what? There are organizations that do that though.
Yes.
Like if you
that's
go to,
what I would do.
If you go to Sandals, by the way, which I don't care what you think, but you get there and they've got like the tray of like drinks and the hot towel to wipe yourself off on the road.
Yes. Yeah. And so anyway, so as I go through the thing, I was actually writing this book right here. And so I decided, I'm pretty sure I told this story in this book. And I created what I call the 9 steps of a phenomenal service experience, right? And based on everything that didn't happen on that island that should have happened. And so they never called a customer by name. You're just room 157. And if you pass by somebody that you could tell that they just didn't want you to ask a question, just like it wasn't bad, it just wasn't good, right? And the enemy of great is not bad, but good, right?
Yeah.
Just you got to set yourself apart. Anyway, I'm checking out. I'm standing in a line. First of all, why am I standing in a line? You have my credit card information. I'm getting on a helicopter. You think I'm going to swim off the island and stiff you for my room or stiff you for a drink charge or something? There's freaking great whites out there. Are you kidding me? And I can't swim with my luggage. I didn't hire a boat. Why am I standing in line? And so I'm standing in this line, and there's this lady. She's trying to do the best she can. There's this long line. And there's another lady over here doing something, and there's a manager over here. He's not paying attention. He turns around, sees the line, and he tells the lady over here, he says, so-and-so, would you take care of that? It's like, that? You mean this line of people that paid thousands of dollars to travel across the world to be abused by you? That? Us? Like, I was like, so what you got to understand is that culture comes from the management, that comes from the ownership. I learned later on that it's corporately owned. So here's what happens. They don't put a good manager in there. And the rule is, if you have an underperforming location, you fire the manager. It's just what you do. But then they put another dummy in there who hasn't been trained, who hasn't trained their people. And then so that we're going to sell off this underperforming property. Dumb, 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 dumb. Dumb, dumb. You know, I haven't done an interview like this maybe ever. I appreciate you pulling all this out of me. One last thing. This is funny. So when I first moved to Houston, there was this, I worked at this grocery store. It was one of the many jobs that I had when I first moved here. And right next to the grocery store was this beautiful card store, like a Hallmark store, you know, nice, beautiful lights, beautiful cards and everything. And one day I'm driving by, and there's this cheap trade show banner in front of the beautiful lights, you know, the kind that has like the cords that tie off on the end, like a $99 banner. Mm-hmm. It says, under new management. Management was spelled wrong. We have gone from bad to worse. First of all, about the worst thing that you can do is tell people you got a problem. We're like, I didn't know there was bad management to start with. Okay? And then management is spelled wrong. You're basically guaranteeing that you're going to, how to guarantee that you're going out of business.
Oh man.
Unbelievable.
That is actually like super funny.
Yeah.
Talked about your TED Talk. How did that, I mean, obviously I'm not going to say how it happened, but that's pretty neat. I mean, was that like a whole big, you know, I always wondered that. I think it's my goal in life. I would love to do a TED Talk. So I'm hoping this podcast gets popular enough where I can actually get on stage and, you know, but how did that all come about, and what was it like? And
well, first of all, it was a TEDx talk at Texas A&M University, and I had a young lady who worked for me who went to college there, and she saw the opportunity and submitted my name and everything. But here's what's weird: is here you're like, I don't know how many years ago that was. Let me see. I guess this was 2018 when I published this book.
Yeah, The Power of Community. Yeah.
And is that right? Maybe earlier than that. But anyway, here I am. I've been a business owner for decades. I'm a coach. I've done all this stuff. And I'm pitching to college students that don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Shaping minds, man. Shaping minds. What's the
2018.
So that's a cool experience. What I would encourage everybody to go watch that.
Thank you.
What was there anything along, you know, when you were in the cleaning business? Because the genesis of this podcast was telling stories about things that happen in people's homes, but also the home services business in general, and just weird. I mean, I've got some posts out there that are really weird right now that are people like, what's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you? So I'll ask you, what's the strangest thing, all right, interaction maybe with a customer from back in the day? You got to dig back into the 80s, maybe the 90s, who knows? What's the strangest occurrence that had happened while you were operating your business, the cleaning, working in people's houses? That's a lot of dead time.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There was the boa constrictor. There was the professional football player that was naked. There was the lady who just couldn't stop telling me that, Howard, I hadn't hoovered yet. I'm sorry, I haven't hoovered yet. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to vacuum. I got a vacuum cleaner. Like, but Howard, I haven't hoovered. She was like loco.
Oh, a repeater.
Yeah, to the time that my guy cleaned the wrong house.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm at the office.
Your guy cleaned the wrong house?
Yeah. So she's like waiting for me or waiting for us. And so I'm on the phone with her. I'm like, I just talked to him. He's there. She's like, is he in a red and white truck? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, well, he's across the street. So he showed up, and the housekeeper didn't speak English. And he said, I'm here to clean the carpet. She let him in.
Oh my gosh.
So we had to leave. We had to leave a note that, hey, we cleaned your carpet. There's no charge.
Oh, dude, I'm crying.
Right? Man, it's been a long time since I've even thought about these stories.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Someone else's house. What a great gift. Could you imagine being the homeowner though and coming home and being like, what is going on here?
Especially with that stuff that we use. There's sawdust in their carpet, like, okay, this is weird. Anyway, yeah.
But don't you vacuum it out though? You don't
Yeah, but a little bit stays in there
Oh.
to continue cleaning and absorbing soil.
Ah.
Okay. All right.
All right. What is one experience that you've had through the course of your career that is the most meaningful? And I don't mean this as a personal, like you went, I mean, like maybe a customer or a client interaction that you can think of that story and it lives with you wherever you go. You carry it wherever you go.
Well, there's a few.
You get to pick one. Okay. I'm just kidding. You could do two if you want.
Well, one client. There's just so many. There's so many. That's why I love what I do. That you change your business, you change your life, because your business has such an impact on your personal life, right? So one of my longest term clients, her name is Elise. She's an architect here in Houston. And she not only was a mean boss, made her team cry. Her and her husband were having problems, and they had a 5-year-old daughter. Now, when I first met Garrett, I'm on a podcast. I'll call you right back, okay?
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, buddy. Coaching call coming in.
All right. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Where are you? There you go. Okay. So beautiful 5-year-old child, just the brightest, most positive little girl you ever met in your life. Well, now her parents get separated, and that little girl's countenance goes in the toilet. We held a disc marriage seminar, and they ended up getting back together.
Wow.
Because they began to understand their personality styles.
Wow.
So She will tell you to this day that our business coaching and DISC saved her marriage, saved her family. That TEDx talk that you're talking about, where I talked about the power of community, her and her husband and her daughter drove all the way to Texas A&M to be there with me.
Mm.
That little girl is now 15 years old, and she is a leader in Girl Scouts. Not only that, today, Elisa's team members cry because she's so good to them. She got her firm is completely turnkey. She made so much money last year and the year before that she bonused $240,000 out.
Wow. To her team?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think she took half and they took half. So it's 120 plus her salary, plus their salary.
Yeah.
So she has a turnkey business, it's predictable, it's profitable, changed the family dynamic. And the craziest thing is that we have so many stories like that because we don't just do business coaching. We don't do just business training. Everything that we do is supported by the Ziglar philosophy. So they're all through this book, FTI, this book right here, there's 10 principles in there. And so everything that we do is principled, you know? And so they don't only learn business stuff, right? We do life stuff. We don't technically do life coaching, but it just happens.
Yeah. It's sort of symbiotic. It just happens. Yeah. I've found that too. And I've taken a lot of this. I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you said you got a couple of stories. That was really,
yeah.
That might be the best one I've heard. A marriage getting saved because they now have the clarity of mind and understanding each other's personality types. Wow.
I have seen 3 people. Obviously, I can't tell you who they are. 3 lives saved. A 12-year-old girl, a 20-something-year-old woman, and a 30-something-year-old woman. People who are just ready to give up. So even if I get tired, if I just don't want to do this anymore, I mean, obviously there's going to come a time, but like, that's why I do this. I do it because of stories like that, you know? We've walked through cancer with people. I have one of my top clients going through a divorce right now because his wife her husband decided that he wants to go out and play the field, whatever, being an idiot. So, yeah.
You got one more in the tank here?
Sure.
Yeah. If you don't, that's fine too. That was great. I mean, you've had a lot of experience with a lot of people, so it's good to hear.
Yeah. Well, listen, I feel like I've been blessed, and I want to leave this world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, this has been an incredible conversation. So tell everybody, like, what's on the horizon, what's new, what's your next thing. Obviously they can find you on your website and I guess it's, howardpartridge.com. Yeah, but go ahead, plug whatever you want, plug it all.
Yeah. So the way to get started with us is go to my website, howardpartridge.com. You're going to be able to download this book for free, the electronic version, of this book, The 5 Secrets of Phenomenal Business. And the whole thing that we do is we help small business owners stop being a slave to their business so that they can transform it into a predictable, profitable turnkey operation so they can have more freedom in their life. If you work for somebody like that, send them the link. If that's you, get this book. Then the next step is to go through one of my boot camps. I do them live, and I do them in person, and I do them online, and go through our business systems training. If coaching, if getting in our community is the right fit for you, that's great. We'll work with you. And so I have a membership program that is that where you can learn all of my systems. We have the documents, the downloads. We have live training online. We have group coaching. We have individual coaching. So I offer a whole suite of offerings. And then we get together every quarter for a live event, and I have some of the top trainers in America come and speak at my events. And they're just like crazy good. So what's on the horizon right now is to keep doing what we're doing. It's working, so why change it? So just, get involved. Just go to the site, click that button, get free business training, and we'll help you to build the kind of business that you want. So the first step is opt in. Second step is getting our training or come to a boot camp. Third step, get coaching so that we can help you long term.
Good stuff, man.
Chief.
Really appreciate you. And I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you back on, and I'd love to have other conversations with you. I think other people would like to have conversations with you, and I'll have anybody that comes into my network and wants to reach out to you. I'll send them your way. I really do appreciate you, man.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and definitely I'd love to come back anytime. I want people to know that you can have a phenomenal business. You can have a phenomenal life. You can. That's all I want people to know.
Yeah. Okay, good. Howard, I really appreciate you. I'm just going to make an announcement here, and then we're gonna head out here. Really big announcement today. I got confirmation that I got a major manufacturer who's going to actually be the official sponsor of our podcast, which is just bonkers. How things are taking off, and I've got a lot of conversations with some other people with some other sponsorships too, and the support has just been absolutely incredible. So lots of great things to come. On my next episode, which is actually this week on Thursday, I am going to be meeting with Mike Montano, the owner of Review Buzz. He's got some things to share, and Mike's an incredible guy. Go check out Review Buzz, and we'll see you soon.